Highlights of that patch that may be relevant here: Bounty Hunter slightly weaker on his early Janata. Alchemist's Illusions now no longer have their own Grievel's Greed, which, in case you didn't know, they had their own individual Grievel's Greed. So, like, every illusion acted like a new Alchemist that spawned. Beastmaster Boar doesn't pierce spell immunity, and Slaughter got a slight movement speed nerf. But I think that should be about it that's relevant here. It's a very, very small tweak patch, so it shouldn't really matter all that much as far as this game's draft is concerned. But hey, this Bounty Hunter and Slaughter just nerfed, so TShow clearly not reading their patch notes well enough. You guys know what I'm saying? They're still perfectly fine, though. I mean, these two Bounty Hunter, we already saw to some extent the impact of that hero last game. Wasn't huge, wasn't a completely dominant Bounty Hunter game, but just applying pressure early on, getting that courier snipe certainly helped out a lot in that mid lane as well. Bounty Hunter is perfectly justifiable. Slaughter as well. Then a little bit of a flavor of the month hero. I hope teams stop picking him, not because I think he's bad, but because I think he's boring as shit. I hate watching Slaughter. It's such a snooze fest. I don't like it. So I hope that he gets nerfed to the ground. I hope teams never pick him again. For right now, it is going to be a lot of tracking vision here for the TShow squad. If you show yourself, you're going to get tracked, you're going to get amped up, and your positioning is going to be revealed every single time. Joker's Ghost Walk, yeah, you're not really going to be super happy using that in this game, let me tell you. Second pick with paiN Gaming, not going to be a Witch Doctor, is going to be a Lion. Now, this may be a little bit of an overcompensation. We see this occasionally with some teams. They realize, hey, we don't really have enough AoE, let's say, in game one, and we lost because of it. So let's pick up some more AoE really early now, and that's not really supposed to be something that you do. I mean, it's fine if you actually need it, but for right now, is there actually a need for a Lion? I would say no. I would say you can probably get a stronger second pick, or just like a more, I guess, versatile second pick. Like right now, Witch Doctor seems actually better than Lion to me, slightly though, for sure. Lion's definitely a hero that is able to do his job, but generally you need a little more of a reason to pick him. But yeah, with the Invoker, maybe setting up some Stun Strikes going to be in the near future. But right now, paiN may be overreacting because of last game. And it's something you really have to make sure of to not overreact. Because the last game, as far as this game is concerned, is irrelevant, right? Like, they won with an Alchemist, you ban that out, that's fine, show some respect to what defeated you. But their draft is not the same, obviously, so just take it as a clean slate. Lancer, Night Stalker, actually going to be both banned out from the TShow squad. The line is reasonable up against Phantom Lancer, but I was thinking that maybe that would even be a selection for the TShow squad, while MVP on that mid lane versus Invoker. I don't really see it all that much nowadays, though it is still extremely viable. Maybe the Night Stalker as well, leaving the Earth Spirit in, is going to let paiN Gaming get a pretty nice setup where they can grab Earth Spirit and together with Invoker apply a decent amount of pressure to any given lane. Roll in, and that's already a pretty substantial threat. Rolling in with a Stun Strike on top of it, yeah, you're going to be hurting quite a bit.
10 seconds remaining.
Offlane now receiving some hate from the paiN side. Darkseer, Beastmaster, there are not many offlane heroes available, yet TShow did pick up Centaur last game. Is still in the pool. Tidehunter is still in the pool as well. Bat Rider still in the pool, and that is a big one. I'd like to see Bat actually from the paiN Gaming squad, perhaps. With Invoker, it's some pretty easy kills. They can very easily get Bat, like Doctor, something like that, and then get kills every single time. TShow grabbed the Death Prophet, though. Pretty interesting draft. I mean, Death Prophet versus Invoker is a pretty good lane situation for the Death Prophet, especially with Bounty Hunter rotating in. And their mid lane is, I think, going to be a little bit more troublesome than they're really prepared for. It's still possible they pick up like an Earth Spirit-esque hero and try to help Invoker that way. We saw super defensive supports, though, from the paiN side last time. Really hope they don't do it again this time, because the lanes are just a little bit too delicate to be messing with that. Bounty Hunter's already pretty well positioned to deal with an Invoker and a Lion, just poking at them, occasionally getting a kill. TShow have what looks like a really heavy snowballing type lineup. And this is the difference between what TShow are doing this time, what paiN Gaming did last time, is that paiN Gaming don't have someone like an Alchemist. They can grab someone like a Spectre and try to approach the game in a similar fashion. And there it is, it's going to be a Slark, although I guess slightly earlier hero as far as being fight ready. Slark can do it from the get-go, almost. The difference is that Slark doesn't actually farm that quickly. He needs to get hero kills if he's going to keep up and really be on top of the net worth chart convincingly. Whereas for Alchemist, he just does whatever the hell he wants, and he tends to get gold. So TShow will have a lot more time to be effective with this draft. A lot more time for Slaughter to get into a little bit more of a beatdown build. Death Prophet can build up her arsenal as well, and we haven't even seen the final core for the TShow squad, all of which is going to be amplified by the Bounty Hunter's track. paiN Gaming, it looks like they may be under the gun in this game, whereas last game they were the ones to be holding that gun. They had a misfire, and I'm not really sure what paiN Gaming's draft is supposed to be doing right now. I mean, it seems like they're still on this tempo plan. Like, you have the line, you get the Slark, a nice 1-2 punch in that lane. As far as payoff, what is the payoff? You get a couple snipes here with the Invoker. Maybe they just are hoping that they're going to be getting kill after kill after kill, and always just moving forward with that gold. A situation where you really want to make sure that you have a bounty hunter-esque hero, or a really heavy pushing hero. Or not a really heavy pushing hero, like a hero that can do damage to towers. Because Invoker, he's average-ish. Slark is below average. Lion is terrible. You're going to be getting these kills and really banking your entire draft on that. You need some sort of push payoff, or you need some sort of late game payoff. Doesn't really seem like either of those is really up just yet for the paiN side. Whereas if you look at TShow squad, getting kills is rewarded with track, and it's rewarded with pushing from the Death Prophet. Maybe the burst kills aren't quite as high as paiN's, just because there's a Sunstrike involved. Yeah, maybe I'm biased a little bit, which I shouldn't be, because I haven't seen TShow play in ages. It seems like the payoff for TShow is just a little bit higher, and now we have a Phoenix on the board, which is pretty interesting to see. 4-position Phoenix, I'm hoping, really causes some chaos, especially up against Tidehunter. Sunray hurts like hell. paiN Gaming do have not many answers to the Phoenix, at least in lane. Lion's decent. Sunstrike, of course, will hit hard. TShow's side, though, we're going to prep up a lot of AoE. This healing from the Phoenix, maybe not what I was expecting as far as babysitting support is concerned. Like, I was expecting like a Witch Doctor type pick for the TShow side. Some sort of hero to combo with the Slardar. Because in lane, if that Phoenix is going to be in that safe lane, which at this point, now I'm talking about it more, I'm kind of thinking it's probably not going to be the case. You really do need some sort of stun setup for the Slaughter. If you're going to deal with the Tidehunter, you need a lot of damage. Or you need a lot of stun duration and hope that you have enough stuns that you can just battle through that Kraken Shell. Disruptor is going to be the ban out, and I think that's a really smart one from the paiN side. That can pretty much get around that Kraken Shell entirely. You cannot Kraken Shell off Glimpse. Pretty interesting if you could. Pretty interesting, but it doesn't actually, that's not how it works. The Tidehunter in lane up against Slaughter is going to have a really fantastic time, and TShow, they need a support in order to answer him. As far as poking is concerned, I'm not really sure what's going to do it. The Disruptor seemed like that was just going to be the best possible hero they could grab in order to answer that tide, but sacking that safe lane is not what you want to do. You need to be able to contest and shove away that Tidehunter. I'm not actually very sure what they're able to pick up right now that's going to be convincingly powerful in order to make that Tide's life very difficult. Maybe they go a little bit greedy and try to get a little bit of a jungle action going and say, okay, Tide, you can have that lane for a little bit, but occasionally we're going to gank you like an Enigma. And then we have a Sand King, wow, from the paiN Gaming side. Or SK, try to deal with that Phoenix a little bit more. Expecting Slaughter and Bounty Hunter to make the initiations, so I'll have a Burst Strike, try to punish those melee heroes. Melee heroes are pretty prevalent on both ends. And then, wow, a Timbersaw last for the TShow squad. Phoenix is going to be played as support, which is not going to be convincing as far as pushing the Tidehunter out of lane. So they are kind of conceding that with this last pick. But you have two strength heroes in the Sand King and Tidehunter on the other end. You have a Snowball hero through and through with the Timbersaw. Seems pretty reasonable for the TShow squad. In their AoE team fight, their ability to chase down heroes is insane. Their lanes are now looking just a little bit weaker. Lion Slark is yeah, vulnerable to the Timbersaw, but with the Sand King mixed in there as well, they should be fine. I don't see TShow able to apply... I don't see them being able to apply any pressure to a very AFK jungling Sand King. Maybe occasionally...
5 seconds remaining.
Maybe occasionally you'll be able to jump in there with the Timbersaw. But for the most part, I would expect Timbersaw to just be like dealing with the lane. So Timbersaw last pick, certainly very interesting. We don't see this all that often, and wow, he is looking like Dragon Knight, to say the least. I'm concerned with this Phoenix Slardar setup personally. It really just does depend where their lane matchups are going to go. If they somehow land Timbersaw up against Tidehunter, slightly better for the TShow squad, but even then, Tidehunter should have a reasonable time. Not completely insane. paiN, they now have a draft that is actually like very pick-off oriented. And they still don't have necessarily that tower pushing payoff. They will have the team fight payoff. So they're saying, okay, we'll be able to get these pickoffs and get X amount of lead from it. And then with that X amount of lead, we'll be able to take your team fight, take a team fight near the Roche pit or under your tier 2 or something like that. And then that is going to be what gives us enough momentum to push in towards the win. TShow kind of deviated away from that plan with this Timbersaw. They're just pretty much all in just to get kills and nothing but kills. So this first 10-minute phase is going to be super important to determine who's going to get an early game lead. Whoever does get that early game lead is almost certainly going to run away with this game. Aga's already going to start stalking this Lion. Get a quick read on the vision status over here. See who has true sight, see who doesn't. Lanes are shaping up so that the Timbersaw is going to go up against Tidehunter. Whirling Death going to be an MVP there. Smash as well to do the same. They're going to get into a fight over this room. There's 5 heroes here, or lots of heroes here for the paiN side. Big Ravage. How about a bigger crush with the Sunray over 3? They're focusing down the Invoker, and they will beat him down. Dude's going to grab that kill. My God, I thought that Burrow Strike, or the Impale was good. I was wrong. The crush was even better. And TShow, in, I guess, a 4v4, Bounty Hunter was like sneaking in from behind there, are going to massacre paiN because they get hit with the 2-man stun, throw back a 3-man crush with a 3-man fully charged Sunray. That was actually a full duration Sunray at level 1, which I'm not sure of the math, but I want to say is one of the higher damaging skills if you can land 6 seconds of it at level 1. Now they're going to jump in again for this Slark. I don't think they could block off his pounce route, and they will not be able to get him. Still applying a lot of pressure early on. ADR's got to burn through a couple of those tangos, but we're going to take a quick look at the other lanes while this lane is kind of passive for it right now. Whirling Death versus Anchor Smash. We'll see who's able to come out on top. The reactive armor is going to be a huge asset here, and as long as Timbersaw has mana, if he's able to... Oh, we're not done yet on this bottom lane. Slardar get hit with quite a few stuns, but he will be fine. As long as Tavo is able to grab Arcane Boots at a reasonable time, he should be fine. But we can see right now, Anchor Smash is king up against the reactive armor-less Timbersaw. 0 armor base. This hero is balanced around the fact that he gets armor around his reactive. I cannot look away from this bottom lane. Sunray is going to once again be casted. The Slaughter's healing is going to be very high, and he will actually survive with the Fairy Fire consumption. He'll turn around, kill the Slark, now going for King RD. Put a lot of damage into him, but now Phoenix's Sunray has been overperforming. It's only a minute 30. He's casted it like twice. And he's already probably the highest damaging hero in the game right now, and the most healing by far. Although, healing from Death Prophet, pretty reasonable as well. She's going up against Invoker, a Wex Invoker at that. I thought for sure it was going to be Exort, because you need the advantage on the bottom lane in order to convincingly win there. Lion is really, really trash until he gets level 3-ish. Then he becomes relevant in lane. Other than that, level 1 Spike is not going to be winning you any engagements. I mean, it will help, but it's not going to be an auto win, that's for damn sure. So this is a pretty interesting build from the Invoker. This is a build that indicates he wants to be here physically in this bottom lane to help out. Because without this Exort damage, you're not going to be beating a Death Prophet in lane. She will have the Siphon, she will have the nukes, she will just be doing more right-click damage. So this is a losing prospect for Lunaro over in mid. Dudes should have almost a complete free roll with or without Bounty Hunter's interference. Bounty Hunter is looking for a courier sniper or something like that. Not going to find it right now. We can see the top lane is almost completely a wash, both heroes trading or rather evenly. Bottom lane is a lane that is being convincingly won by TShow. Supernova having non-zero part in affecting that lane. Slaughter is getting a ton of farm compared to the Slark. And this is pretty much the best time for TShow to abuse this lane. Though the Phoenix isn't really the strongest, he keeps on landing these stun rays, and Slaughter is okay with bruising right now. It will get a little bit worse once level 3s come up on this on these paiN gaming heroes. Oh, Sentry battles won by the Radiant. Yeah, Slark is level 3 right now. Really, level 6 is where he's going to be very safe. And oh, they've backed up. They crushed instead of doing something. I don't know what happened there. So something happened with that Slardar. 0-2 anyway for the TShow squad. Bounty Hunter, he's like almost fully laning right now, which is what we never see. Going for Invoker is very possible, but with Ghostwalk at his fingertips, it's going to be not really attractive for Baga to apply a lot of pressure there, especially when there's such a volatile situation on the bottom lane. As long as he keeps tabs on the Sand King, we saw him block this camp earlier, a stack attempt from the paiN side. He'll apply a lot of just passive pressure, because again, Lion does not want to be in this scenario up against the Bounty Hunter. Always very dangerous as a 1 armor hero. Nada just got nerfed though. What a backbreaking nerf. Doesn't the same amount of damage. I think it's like a 3% slow at level 1 nerf. It's not that high, but yeah, the heroes picked up all the time. That's justified regardless. But while this is happening, while this laning phase is resulting in no kills, paiN are not getting as much CS, and King RD going to take 2 slaps from the double damage Baga. 6 armor. Bounty Hunter's okay with making these plays. Now the Slaughter chasing after this Lion. They will get spiked up before the crush can land. Slaughter now going to sprint in once again. There is a disable here on the line. He will hex up right away. Bardo now in a little bit of trouble. He will be able to fly away. ADR unable to grab that kill. This is really where you want the Sunstrike, but instead it's up towards top lane where they find their kill, as the Timbersaw is going to beat down that Tidehunter. Anchor Smash, strong but not always going to be your saving grace once the magical damage comes up on Timber. And again, Mana Boots are there. Now another Crush can land onto ADR. He does have a Pounce, he does have an Impale right behind him. He'll jump out of there, but the Slaughter going to chase forward? Oh, he's not. The Tidehunter now is essentially out of this lane. Now, levels 1 through 5, Tidehunter put up a really good fight. Once the Chakram comes out, and that source of damage is now up from Tavo, Tidehunter simply cannot afford to trade hits anymore. He can trade right clicks all day. That's something that Tidehunter can gladly do, but that's not something that Timbersaw does. That's not how this hero operates. He will just 100-0 you. Or, you know, not 100-0 you maybe, but he will do a lot of damage through non-right click sources. Then as Tidehunter, what do? You need to, I think, like look towards the jungle at this point. You could still try to contest this. Maybe find some angles where Tavo doesn't have a ton of mana. Jubilee gets close, it's going to hurt like hell. He has to carry TP as well, so that he has to be ready to go to this bottom lane with the Ravage. This early game stage really working out well for the TShow squad. This is kind of weird to see as well. I mean, Phoenix and Bounty Hunter as like laning supports aggressively. Not really super common. And Slaughter, oh, Sunrays once again gonna keep him alive as he charges in. Another crush in 1 second that will land an ADR. One more hit, he'll get the kill. Eat a Fairy Fire, slap Lion for good measure. Our shot's still coming, but he's surviving, albeit barely. And he's gonna go in again? Oh my god, someone stop this madman. Clark is getting his face smashed in by his slightly bulkier fish cousin, whatever. I don't think they're actually related. I don't know, I haven't read the lore. Or I did read the lore, but I don't remember the lore. Crush, man. Crush and aggressive playstyle and having a passive lane for paiN. The real downside here for paiN is that not only are they behind in CS, they have a Sand King who should be able to kind of like gain some farm in the background while this is happening, but because he's been involved in these fights, and unsuccessfully so, he's still level 2. He can't even Sandstorm jungle at a reasonable pace, even if he did have stacks, which he doesn't really. King RD is not going to be accelerating himself as the Sand King, whereas TShow, yeah, the Bounty Hunter's level 3 as well. Phoenix is level frickin' 5. They're getting so much out of this, and they are fighting 3v3. Now Jubilee's one in trouble towards top lane. Tavo has quite a deep pool of mana. I don't know why there's a siege creep here. He's lagging behind the rest of his creep wave, but Slaughter either way is going to rotate in. Tidehunter is in a lot of trouble. They'll kill the Bounty Hunter on the bottom lane, but Jubilee, oh my god, that whirling death. Serious damage. Timber Chain going to miss somehow. That didn't look right. But Jubilee's pretty screwed right now. Crush and the Chakram. That's a dead tide. Sushi for 2 right there. Bounty Hunter probably just got jumped on the bottom lane, walked into a sentry or something like that. I don't know. It's certainly nice for paiN to get a kill, but losing your Tide Hunter for it, that's expensive. Now Phoenix at level 5 is almost unkillable in this lane. They will be able to kill him if they get a wraparound, but good luck doing that with this Observer Ward in the area. Lion has to get the jump in, and that's very difficult. A Death Prophet even going to show her face up towards top lane. Push this tower down. Don't need the exorcism for it because it's mostly dead already. This Timbersaw is going to be running wild. There was a recent buff to Bloodstone, which everyone thought was going to be huge for Storm. Timbersaw really just not on anyone's radar. That really is a big reason why, I mean, Timbersaw is able to destroy you because teams don't really prepare themselves for a Timbersaw pick ever. But if he's in a good lane up against Tide Hunter, man, he's in a good lane. And early Bloodstone can destroy everybody as a Timbersaw. Pretty basic build. Timbersaw doesn't really benefit. Well, he does benefit from Octarine, but perhaps Bloodstone a little bit better. They're going to EMP Soothes right now. Ravage is there as well. Death Prophet is still doing damage with their ultimate right now. Bottle Charge is not enough in time. They will lose her to the Burrow Strike. Another spike going to come through onto the Slardar. He's tanky, though, with his helm, and he will get a little bit of help here from the Timbersaw. He'll lose all his mana, however, from the mana drain of the line. They will force the fall back. 1-for-1 trade up towards the top lane. That is pretty good for paiN, but again, the trade-off here is they're still not answering this Phoenix. Still not answering the farm over in the mid lane, where Bounty Hunter is able to get some levels towards level 6, and they lost their tower in the end beforehand. So for paiN, it's as good as they could have hoped for. But honestly, not really sure if it's going to be quite good enough to get out of the spunk they're in. These lanes are just going so well for the TShow squad, and with a snowballing draft as well, that just amplifies the hurt. Exorcism was used there, therefore not available for this bottom lane push, which is unfortunate, but they will probably have track soon enough. It is 10 minutes in. I'm very interested to see where these tomes are going to go. Did Lion just eat his? I think Lion just ate his to get himself to level 6. I want to say that happened. I don't see it anywhere, so it had to be eaten. Clark is going to pack off a stun, but taking a lot of damage in the process, goes into his ulti form. EMP is going to hit onto the Slaughter. Finger of Death, and that's a dead hit. Super easy kill there, going a little bit too aggressive, TShow. If you have extras to make that play, if not, maybe you're going to regret it. Cold Snap going to halt up the Death Prophet for a split second. Do all that much. She's got her laces on, tying up those power treads. Slaughter going in a little bit too aggro. Punished. Killing a Slark like that is so difficult. You really need like Timbersaw levels of burst damage if you're going to make that happen. Soothes? Okay, he's fine. Has another exorcism very soon, however. There is going to be as well track right around the corner. TShow have their tome. Tome of Experience, like when that was revealed, everyone's like, oh shit, Bounty Hunter is going to be ecstatic about that. I'm surprised he hasn't bought his by now, but I guess he thinks he's going to get level 6 elsewhere. When you get track, though, better. ADR going to get chased down. Spike is there. Do they have a Hex? They do. And Slaughter, Sunray, heal is not going to be enough. Oh, actually, it will be enough. Oh my god, Phoenix is balanced, and now they're going to jump in towards the Lion. There's some burst from Tavo. Log coming around from the side. They will EMP the Timbersaw, spike him up as well, losing a lot of his mana pool. In a lot of trouble right now. This time with no Sunray, he'll still survive because of stick charges. And the Supernova going to drive everyone else. Slaughter going to go in deep, though, going to get pounced up by the Slark and will fall. Is very weak right now. He's sticking around regardless of that fact with Naro. Doesn't have any spells to cast, however. Everything's on cooldown. And TShow going in almost suicidally into paiN. This Slaughter has to calm the hell down. If you have Armlet, you can maybe make that play and justify it. If you have track, the reward is worth the risk, but they didn't have either. They're making that play just a little bit too early. If they had level 6 Bounty Hunter, I would be kind of okay with that, since if you get one track kill and lose your Slaughter for it, that's pretty much worth it. But seeing as though that wasn't the case, ooh, they're actually looking at the Lion. They can kill him. They see him with the Observer Ward. Bardo is actually going to place an Observer Ward pretty deep. That should be spotted by the paiN side, but now the Phoenix is like way deep in. He's going to try to teleport out. There's a Tornado. We'll cancel it. Nordy's here with the Burrow Strike as well, but no, they actually missed him. Bardo has an Icarus Dive, and he's going to fly in. Fly, Phoenix. Fly to freedom. Oh, that's not gonna happen. Towers? Tower deny? KRD gets the experience, though, so it's, you know, whatever. It's a kill on the Phoenix, who, again, is going in way too aggressively for some reason. Speaking of aggressively, Slaughter is, well, feeding over himself quite a few times. situation where if he just plays a little bit safer, maybe you just completely avoid those deaths and survive to fight another day. Aga now going to buy the EXP tome after getting level 6. That's odd. By the way, his level 6 is up, so TShow have a little bit of an easier time making these plays. Everyone and their mom is pinging in. So that's Baga pinging Jubilu. Timbersaw in the area, killing off this Tide Hunter, is very, very easy, except there's backup around the corner. Sand King and Invoker, level 6 Sand King, that first strike is going to hurt. They're going to track up the Invoker, and Tavo's going to do a lot of damage to Jubilu before Timber chaining out, but now the Tornado and the EMP and the Burrow Strike, lots of damage onto Tavo. He's tanky, but not tanky enough. He'll try Timber chain out, but the Cold Snap will interrupt that, and he'll fall. Tracks to be thrown out onto absolutely everyone. Slaughter is going to arrive as well, but doesn't have a Blink Dagger. They'll land this onto the Sand King, 3-man Shuriken toss. They'll take down the Sand King for their first track kill. Now charging forward, looking for more. Windlaces, maybe we'll get Soothes close enough to Jubilu. No. Pouncing from ADR is going to keep him at bay. Now Supernova going to go off in the background. Lil's got to run. They'll lose the Lion. Rabbit is going to connect onto 3 heroes, but there's no follow-up for it. And they still have Lenaro in their sights. He has a Tornado. He has an EMP. They're going to line up straight for it. It's going to land onto 3 heroes, but the damage is not quite enough. As everyone from TShow, for the most part, survive until they get into the tower range. Once again, they still have Lenaro in their sights. They will be not able to kill him off. They'll lose the Bounty Hunter in the chase, now completely out of mana. Slaughter armlet toggling for all he's worth. Bardo thinking about making some sort of Q play to get back in there, but he's got to leave. He doesn't have a way to fly out of here, however. He's going to get pounced up by ADR, and he will lose his life for it. TShow going a little bit too aggressively there. Going for the Invoker. Going for a hero who has like 450 movement speed. That's difficult to do, and now Timbersaw going to wander in. Bad place for him to be. Cold Snap is going to prevent his Timber Chain from doing anything. Finger of Death going to jam the kill home. See the Slaughter impale? Ooh, no, they didn't see the Slaughter, actually. They blocked it. TShow, they get like 1 track kill after all is said and done, which I guess Bounty Hunter is going to be okay with, but they go in way too deep and they get hit with a little bit too much value. Now, if you're fighting back here, you're going to be hit with reinforcements from both sides, from the tier 2 and from the tier 1, and that has its risks. But once you fight under the tier 1, reinforcements are going to land right in the middle of the fight. Bardo going to have to armlet toggle his way out of here. Cold Snap going to make that difficult. He'll die before getting a single attempt off. paiN are starting to actually claw their way back into it just by outfighting TShow. Tracks the having of Timbersaw on their squad. Would expect TShow to have a lot easier engagements than this. It just seems like they're not quite all on the same page. Whereas paiN, they're fighting as a lot more of a coherent group, a coherent 5-man group. Same cannot be said for TShow, and paiN are therefore starting to scrap their way back into it. It's not really going to balance things out completely, but slow and steady, gonna maybe win this race. It's still a very delicate situation here from paiN, though. The upside of Supernova having an armlet now on Slaughter, plus that track, means that TShow can just win a handful of engagements and then get all the lead back, and then some. Going for Roche is incredibly risky. Even with amplified damage and the Exorcism, Tornado EMP, going to do nothing, really. Exorcism not hitting the Roche in the meantime. Silence onto 2, as the Timbersaw is going to put himself right in the front line. Jubilu now having a Ravage cool down. There's no good targets for it, though. Storm's going to fly in. Slaughter going to get snapped up, and with the Phoenix diving in, he'll Supernova onto everyone, but the Ravage is going to land first. Zeus will do a lot of damage here. Aegis on the deck. ADR is going to try to grab it, but he doesn't have room, and Baga's going to grab it. Now ADR is stuck in the Roche pit. Silence. He will purge it off and jump out. But Tavo's actually going to go ahead and give chase. Chakram slightly off the mark. They'll lose the Slaughter for 2 so far, but they have the Slark in their sights. Around the corner, he'll miss his spike completely. ADR still will survive, but the Lion, I'm pretty sure he's just screwed. He'll land into a whirling death of blades, and they will lose the Lion twice, and the Tide Hunter for just the Slaughter. They aren't able to grab the Aegis, which is now in the hands of the Bounty Hunter. Good bet isn't the intentional play, but he's going to be TShow killing off Roche, I believe. Picked up, yes. It was not snatched, so it was TShow to get the last hit, and they get away with that Aegis. And these skills from paiN are just missing. Burrow Strike and Spike are not supposed to be hard to hit. And Tavo is going to be dove a little bit by Lenaro. ADR is in the area as well with the Shadow Blade doing a lot of damage to the Timbersaw. Cold Snap again. Casting pretty much anything but the Sunray. Winning the fight again for the TShow squad. ADR is going to get torn to shreds. Here comes the Epicenter. It's going to land squarely onto the Phoenix. That's a dead bird. Dead and deep fried, but Baga's looking for the kill onto Lenaro's Shuriken toss, not quite going to do it. Another Chakram from downtown. That should do it. Nowhere to run. He'll get put in the blender and he'll fall. TShow's Phoenix overperforming to say the least. Suze, wow, making a super aggressive play down towards bottom. The Exorcism, he's going to get fingered in the face. Doesn't have stick charges. He just used them. Bottle charges as well, not available. Death Prophet to fall. What the hell was that play? Death Prophet, that was not right at all. Going in by yourself with no bottle charges. Yeah, that's over-aggressive play to say the least. You have one hero there and you can make that play happen, but obviously the heroes weren't there in time. TShow still, as we can see, one good fight, and all that lead from paiN that they started to build up is gone. That's all it takes, guys. That is all it takes. Now Timbersaw is going to get his item up. They have a mechanism up, which I don't think... Oh, it is up on the Tidehunter. So we got mech for mech. Bloodstone and Timbersaw is going to be huge just for his survivability. Generally, the mana pool is the biggest constraint for Timbersaw, but Cold Snap, EMP, having a deep mana pool can only help you so much. Somehow able to grab a Blink Dagger, then that'll be just aces for the TShow squad. Blink Dagger is up on the Sand King. Able to somehow scrape together gold for that. Being relevant on the Invoker. Slark has his Shadow Blade. And that is not really super dependable. As an entrance tool, they may get the jump occasionally, but TShow have been pretty good about keeping detection up, just in anticipation of Invokers, Invisibility, and Sand King's Sandstorm as well. So aggressively, the Shadow Blade is not guaranteed value. Defensively, up against track and amplify damage, yeah, you're good luck actually making that happen. You have to pact into immediate Shadow Blade and hope nothing comes in and tracks you up. It's possible for sure, but by no means guaranteed. King RD. Oh, here comes a Sunray, canceling the Blink Dagger. They now see him, track him, and show him what for. Got it though. TShow, Blink Dagger for Slaughter, the next big item for them to hit. Whereas for the paiN side, they are kind of almost exclusively on the defense. Slark doesn't have quite enough right-click power, and they are very reliant on this Ravage. Looking for a fight paiN is way, way risky. And they will probably just take the fights under their towers, because they know the TShow are going to be looking for the fights first. Track and amplify damage. He used to give like -3 armor or something like that at max level. They removed that. Still, they know exactly where he is. Epicenter going to be used. He's going to find it onto the Slaughter with the pounce in. Slaughter down. TShow, do they actually want to fight this? Jubilu's going to be spotted. Track's going to be thrown out. Now here comes the Timbersaw. Silence going to land onto two heroes. Supernova right in the middle of everything. They're going to try to beat it down, and the egg will crack. It will cost them maybe their line, but the EMP Tornado actually going to save him with the Ravage there as well. They'll lose Tavo and Baga. Well, he's going to get gushed up. Has mana to go invis, but Dual Scepter will lift him up. He has the Aegis, but there's nowhere to go from here, Baga. He's pounced, and he's losing all his mana. He'll lose his first life. And with his second life, yeah, you're literally up against him 1v5. Good luck. He's dead. TShow, they lose their Slaughter, yet decide to make that fight happen anyway. Phoenix's Supernova not doing nearly enough. Being cracked by a Tidehunter and Lion combo is something you do not expect to happen. That play from TShow was questionable to say the least. Now Death Prophet, again, solo pushing is going to be a lot of trouble because here comes the Slark with the ice wall there. There's no running, there's no hiding. Prophet going to give her life again on this bottom lane, trying to be a little bit cute in the split push. TShow are just getting way too over aggressive for their own good. They had such a nice hold over this game, and they still have the ability to bring it back just with a good team fight. Every single time they take these kind of questionable fights, they're giving so much room to paiN to these items on Slark, to get more initiation items, or to get more kills on the Phoenix, who's going to get killed by Sandstorm, because Icarus Dive brought him down to 1 HP. I have never seen that before, but yeah, Icarus Dive does cost health, so if you're getting hit with the damage over time spell, you're just dead. Be you, man. It sucks to be you. Yet another kill here for the paiN squad. Kills aren't worth quite as much, but getting more of them than the TShow team. You see the Bloodstone, Hood, Timbersaw really struggling to have any sort of significant impact. Always getting hit with that Cold Snap, which is such a backbreaker for this hero. Like, you're always going to be taking damage for one thing. There's no chance where you're going to be like, okay, well, let's Timber chain out now. Nope, not going to happen. Once you're in the fight, you are in the fight. You're not retreating. That is not what Timbersaw wants, pretty much ever. As long as they land EMP and Cold Snap on him, paiN side are going to be real happy. And for paiN, a Blink Dagger on the Lion will make this game so much easier. They can start actually look for easier kills. Silver Edge also going to make it quite easy. Does Silver Edge interact with reactive armor at all? I think it will just eliminate it. Still keep the stacks, but you won't gain more, which is pretty sick to handle the hero. Nothing really huge elsewise. Applying that break. No, it's not called break. What is it called? I don't know what it's called. Is it called break? The damage reduction? Might be called break. Who knows? On ADR, just landing that on like a Slardar or Death Prophet, it's really difficult to fight back from the Slark at that point. We'll win these duels every single time. So ADR, after a really rough phase, just finding a couple snipes, and just having like an ultimate orb worth of stats in his inventory is going to be doing quite a bit for him. Going to get cheese killed by Slaughter, Initiation, or anything like that. Or at least if he is, it's going to cost TShow a lot of resources. Boo2 also going to go for a point booster item. Clearly, this is going to be Eye of Scotty because that's the best item on Tidehunter. Just any consideration for this? Probably too expensive. It's probably just going to be the Ags. AoE Gush is actually no joke. I don't think it's quite as strong as some other Ag Interceptor upgrades, but it's certainly worth considering. Doesn't seem like he needs a Blink Dagger in this game. At least not yet. Maybe later down the line. I'm not sure if this is necessarily better than some other items he'd be going for, but it is definitely worth its weight in salt. Hardar. Don't move. Oh, Courier? No. Courier spotted while they're coming in from the side. Rush is going to be interrupted by Tornado casted beforehand. Now the Ravage is down. Supernova's going to fly right in, but they've already lost their Slaughter. Can they focus down this Sun? They'll try their best, and they will crack it. Jubilee will fall for it, though, as Exorcism and Timbersaw going wild. They'll take down the Invoker in the trees. 2 for 3 trade in favor of the TShow squad. They're unable to get their hands onto ADR. But even with that, I mean, that's surprisingly good for the TShow team. The Slaughter Initiation was unfortunately cancelled immediately by the Tornado of the Invoker, so he didn't get his Blink fresh off. But in this fight, unlike the other ones, Tavo actually survived and he was not cold snapped. He was actually able to do some pretty serious damage. Soothes as well with the Exorcism beforehand, destroying the paiN heroes. This will get them a team fight win. This will get them a tower as well. And this game is just back and forth. Like every single time paiN seems like they're gonna get a couple of free wins, they just take a fight like that and hey, Baga. Is he just dead? Oh, that Burrow Strike. Yep, I think he's dead. Oh, no, he's going to go invis. There's no True Sight here. There's another Blink Burrow Strike in 3 seconds. PRD, tap into your third eye. He went the wrong way, unfortunately. So, whatever. Baga's going to survive. TShow, the problem here, I think the big problem is that their Slaughter is constantly dying every single time. So, what we did see in a very poor position Slaughter, I'm going to see as more of a supporty role in the fight on the Death Prophet and the Timbersaw. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. These two heroes, as we have seen earlier, are prone to make some careless mistakes or just get cold snapped and EMP'd. In case their contributions to the team fight are going to be far from guaranteed. But still, it is going to come down to just a handful more fights. Whoever gets this next Roche going to be in a big lead. Exorcism on cooldown for another 20. TShow can't make a play there yet. But with Exorcism and Amplified Damage, you would expect TShow to be the first ones in. They do have to respect the Ravage. They have to respect the Tornado EMP. Of course, the Sand King combo now is either lensed up. The lens is actually extremely legit on Sand King. Not for the fact that it gives him 250 mana. Like, that is amazing on the hero. And ooh, hello. Hello. Echo Saber is up. Oh, jump in. Slark's gonna jump in on the Timbersaw. He's hexed up immediately and getting so much stats pulled away by ADR. Now here comes the Epicenter onto the Timbersaw. He's down. Ravage as well. Gonna interrupt the initiation from Bardo with the Supernova, so it's gonna be off to the side. But they'll still land a crush. Exorcism doing a lot of damage on the sidelines. They'll take down the Tidehunter and the Invoker. Those gonna jump forward, burst down the boundary with the Finger of Death, but ADR is on the retreat, and the Exorcism is still going to town. Triple kill for Soothes. And once again for paiN, it looks so good in the beginning. It looks so good. They're able to pretty much brick wall the Timbersaw. This time they, okay, they'll take down the Slaughter. This time they cancel the dive in from the Phoenix. Yet again, it's just not quite good enough because the hero that they're not able to focus down is the hero that does the most damage. It's the Death Prophet. She's always in the back with those ghosts. She's always destroying these heroes from paiN. And this is where I'm kind of questioning, is this point booster build up from Tidehunter really what you want to be doing? Because it seems to me that even though you're like going for health is maybe the best way to deal with this Timbersaw, going to be the best way to perhaps deal with some of this Phoenix's damage as well. Going for something like an armor item, like just something very simple like Vlad's, will give your team so much more survivability up against the biggest threat right now, which is the Exorcism. And of course, the Slaughter amplification for that Exorcism. No joke. I feel like paiN may be running into a lack of armor at this point. Like, Lion for sure has that problem. Tidehunter, you wouldn't expect it as much as it is, but he's also having a lot of difficulty. We'll take down a tower, and he'll drop an EMP. Won't really do a ton. Crushing the land now onto 2. Lining them up for the Timbersaw to cut right through, but the Slark is here as well. Once again, still a lot of stats from the Timbersaw. Stun right. Gonna keep Tabo alive for a little while longer as ADR is gonna get mech'd up. He can return to this fight. Ooh, Lion gonna straight purchase the Blink Dagger. They're gonna jump forward for the Slardar. That's a mistake, Slardar. He does not have his team anywhere nearby, and Pink is once again gonna feed over his life. Going a little bit too aggro. 3 kills for paiN. Careless plays from TShow on their face right now. Can get the tower. They can move forward for a little bit more because they have another Ravage cooling down. The epicenter, they have Finger of Death with the fresh Blink Dagger online. Now, this is not a surprise to the TShow squad, but still, Blink line is very difficult to play around. If you're Phoenix right now, you're going to be scared. He'll dodge a tornado. He will survive that. The Slark is doing a lot of work. Echo Saber is pretty sick with Essence Shift. Jump into the Timbersaw right now. Look at the burst damage from a couple of hits, and the Timber Chain will miss. That'll be the death of the Saw. And now Suze will pop his Exorcism right now, but he's literally all alone. Exorcism is doing its work, but is it enough? They'll Ravage only onto a couple. No, actually does hit Suze. They'll pop the Phoenix Egg in the meantime. The AoE from the Exorcism is still doing a lot of damage towards Jubilu. ADR, though, is at full HP, running wild. King now going to reinitiate with the Epicenter. He'll kill off the Death Prophet. And that will be only one casualty for the paiN squad. Baga going to get Tornado lifted up into the air. Lil's going to jump in for the Impale. ADR is going to steal the kill because that's what Slark does. The 4 kill for the paiN side as TShow used their Exorcism. Get out maneuvered in that fight. ADR leaving the fight pretty much always at full HP because he's always ducking out at the right times. TShow going a little bit too aggressive with, again, not the proper scenario being set up first. You need your Death Prophet to be in the back, as far in the back as possible. You also need your Slaughter not to get jumped right now. He's getting with a Cold Snap. Hex and Spike. Slark gonna jump in and once again kill his fish friend. I guess at this point, they're definitely not friends. 4,300 gold, and that's GG. Okay, TShow beaten down and demoralized are going to call it. So yeah, I guess that's it. Now, TShow definitely did have the ability to come back into it, but they were just not managing themselves properly. Or definitely on tilt there, to say the least. So it is going to be paiN Gaming to claim victory in Game 2. I have the series 1-1, and that means we're done, because best of 2s are awkward as hell. But that's sometimes just what happens. You just get a little bit of an edge, and then you lose it because of careless play.